So tonight as I try to every night, I'm going to be making a low carb dinner. Not really very difficult, nothing particularly complex about what I'm going to make. But I'm going to, first of all, need some buns. And my choice of buns consist of breaking an egg in this bowl. Throwing the eggshell away. And then mixing some cheese in with that egg. I think tonight I'll do Mexican. It's a Mexican style 4-cheese blend. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open that up. And I'm going to put some of this cheese in with the egg. I'll show you the result here. Something to mix it with, of course. So, basically what I've done is I've just taken an egg and I've thrown in some cheese. I'm going to mix that together. You don't have to mix it crazy. You don't have to put it in a blender or anything like that. Just mix it with a fork and get the egg really mixed in real well with the cheese. It takes a little bit of time, just mixing the egg and cheese together. I think I'm ready. I'm gonna show you the old automation of the kitchen. Alexa, turn on kitchen devices.
Okay.
So kitchen devices have come on, and so what I'm using is my Dash waffle maker. I'm going to turn this camera so you can see it. And so it's just a Dash waffle maker. I think I spent $10 on it. I use it every single day. I mean, it's really a very important appliance as far as the low carb diet is concerned. And so I'm going to take a spoon and just put half of this mix of cheese and egg into the waffle maker. You'll kind of see the result as it sits on the hot waffle maker. And close the lid. A little bit more there. I'll close the lid. And so I'll be making half of my bun. Now I've got to cook my hamburger. So while that waffle is cooking, I'm going to just get my hamburger patty going. Drop that in the pan. Lid on that. Keep it simple. I don't over season my burgers. Just gonna put a little bit of salt on it is all. And for the salt that I've been using lately is the 365 sea salt, fine crystals, and I bought those at Whole Foods, and I must say, you know, like everything at Whole Foods, a little more expensive, but seems kind of to be worth it to me. It's a really good, very nice tasting salt. A little coarse, a little bit of a coarse blend. And so, just gonna put the other two patties away. refrigerator. And by the way, as long as I'm kind of by the stove here cooking, this is a, I think it's called a Oppo squash. You're going to find as time goes by that I really do like squash. This is an Oppo squash. Never had it before. I'm going to wash it. My plan is to cook it for about an hour on 350. I'm going to just set it on a cookie sheet after washing it, and I'm going to cook it on 350 in the oven and see what happens. I really have grown really fond of squash since I've discovered that, in my opinion, squash is, in many ways, it really tastes a lot like potatoes to me. And so this is an Oppo squash. I bought at Jewel. I think it was $1. And so all together, I'm gonna wash that. I'm not even gonna let the wait for the oven to preheat. Gonna throw that in the oven at 350. At least I hope it's 350. The stove, it turns out the electronic circuit board on top is kind of failing, so sometimes it's hard to tell exactly what the temperature of the stove is, but I believe it to be 350, and I believe it's on, so I think we'll be cooking that squash. Meanwhile, we've got this burger going. I see the hamburger bun has already is all ready. I'll show you what that looks like. Voila! Hope you can see that. It looks good, and it's really surprising just how good these buns are. I'm gonna just show you the bun. It'll have a hamburger on top of it and another bun now on the top. Meanwhile, while the hamburger is cooking, so I'll throw the other half of the egg and Mexican cheese mixture on the waffle maker, which again, I can't stress the importance of the waffle maker. I can't imagine life without it, really. And so while that's going, I'm going to have a side dish. And so, speaking of squash, I happen to have some squash here. I can't think of the name of this squash, but it's really a really good squash. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some of that in a bowl with some butter. It really will make a delicious side dish. To me, it really is. I prefer it over potatoes. And so here again, I've just got it's just a bowl of squash. Again, I can't quite recall. I started out really discovering butternut squash, which I think is absolutely delicious, an acorn squash. And I'll come up with the name of this squash eventually, but it kind of looks like an acorn squash. Here I've got the bowl of squash with a half of a cube of butter. No problem. I'm going to put that in the microwave. And that'll cook for 2 minutes when I'm ready. And what's interesting about this meal, and about this video in general, is you're really seeing this meal prepared in real time. And so try again to keep it simple, keep it real, and keep it, of course, low carb. I'm going to turn this hamburger over. Good idea to put the smoke vent on, or I'll set off the fire alarm. And so the hamburger is cooking nicely. The bun is being prepared as it does. Doesn't take very long. In fact, I think it's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and take the second of the top of the bun off. You can see I've got two pretty equal size waffles. And again, these waffles are just made of one egg, and I put a little bit of Mexican cheese mix in there, mixed it together with a fork, and I threw those in the waffle maker. And I'm telling you, these are really, really good buns. They're better than buns. And so I think it's kind of important. I think it's you know, since I've been on this low carb diet and I've gone from eating out every meal to making every meal, I can't think of many dishes I haven't enjoyed, actually. And the beautiful thing is they've all been low carb, and they also have been whole foods. There's nothing prepared about them, which is nice. I'm going to be putting some cheese on this burger, some American cheese, and I'm going to let that cook a little longer, of course. And I'll be putting that cheese on the burger. And for the instead of ketchup, I put a little of this Chipotle ranch dressing. It's very low carb, really delicious, has a real good flavor. I'm going to be putting that on there, and sensing that the cheese will be going on here pretty soon. Cooking this on kind of a high flame, and so it has a tendency to get a little crispy on the outside, but I don't really mind. Gonna let that cook for another couple minutes. Meanwhile, we've got the squash in the microwave with butter, and we've already made with the Dash waffle maker. We've made our hamburger buns. I'm gonna turn the kitchen devices off. Alexa, turn off kitchen devices.
Okay.
And start to think about kind of cleanup here. There we are. So that's amazing. This one squash, I've actually gotten 3 side dishes out of it. And I have to tell you, I think at Whole Foods, I probably spent about $1.50 on this squash. And I can't think of the name of the actual species of squash, but really, really good, especially with the butter. It actually tastes, it kind of has a sweetness to it, and it has a consistency that's really similar to mashed potatoes. So, another minute or so, we'll put on that cheese. I think it's ready to be put on, actually. So, again, I try to keep everything real simple. And so, I'll be putting this is an American cheese. I actually do like it. Nothing exotic about it, but very delicious. And I'll put that on this burger. You'll notice I put a lot of cheese on there. Why not? It's low carb, as you know. And so, put the lid back on. I'm ready to cook that for 2 more minutes. I'm going to put my microwave on for 2 minutes. So those that squash will get really good and hot, and but it's not going to dry out. 2 minutes just heats it up. To tell you how I cooked that squash, I actually cooked it. I cooked it whole. No, I cut it in half. I cut it in half and I put them up, those two halves upside down on a cookie sheet. Cooked it at 350 for about an hour. And when I got done, I would flip them back. I took them out of the oven, flipped them over, and you could just spoon out the flesh of that squash. It was that easy to fill the bowl with squash. The other part of this meal, of course, is the fact that I needed some buns. I could have gone without buns, which I sometimes do, but in this case I made some buns with the waffle maker and a combination of Mexican cheese and an egg. Making a pub burger. It's a half-pound burger I just bought tonight, so it should be good and fresh. And when the 2 minutes are up for the squash, which is going to be very soon, I'm going to open this lid, and the cheese will be really nicely melted on this burger, and I'll show you the result. Kind of excited about it. So much so that I'm trying to lift the lid before it's the 2 minutes are up, which I will do. I mean, it's plenty melted, and so I'm going to put that burger on the bun. That's good. Put that pan in the sink and run a little water on it. Alright, the squash is ready. And it's hot. Yes, it is indeed. So there you go. You have just kind of been the audience to this meal. It's consists of a half-pound burger with some American cheese on a bun that's made from the Dash waffle maker. And as you can see, this is some delicious squash with some butter mixed in. Really a nice side dish. Very low carb, this meal. Very nutritious, lots of fiber. I really am so glad you could join me on this for this meal, and I'm gonna start eating it and enjoy that. And I thank you very much for joining me on my very first YouTube video. That is going to be my YouTube videos are going to be focused on diet and exercise. This one, of course, is a video on diet. And so, thank you for joining me. Have a great night. Happy New Year to you. Bye.